Cast iron and carbon steel pans have a lot in common. They're both durable, versatile, and ideal for searing and browning meats. With enough seasoning, they both develop a natural nonstick surface and both can last a lifetime. But despite these similarities, they have some key differences that you should know before deciding which to buy. In this video, I break down those differences so you have a clear understanding of the pros and cons of each. Let's get right into it. The first difference you need to understand is the makeup of these materials. Carbon steel is 99% iron and 1% carbon, and cast iron is 98% iron and 2% carbon. Some cast iron contains up to 3% carbon. It may seem strange due to its name, but cast iron actually has more carbon content than carbon steel. Carbon adds hardness, but it also makes cast iron less pliable and more brittle. That's why cast iron cookware has thick and heavy walls. It's made by pouring molten iron into sand molds, which is then cooled and hardened. The thickness of cast iron cookware makes up for its brittleness. With lower carbon content, carbon steel is more ductile than cast iron, meaning it can bend without breaking. Unlike cast iron skillets, which are made in molds, carbon steel skillets are made by rolling out sheets of carbon steel, cutting the dimensions, and then punching the pan into shape. This process results in cookware that's thinner and less bulky. Since cast iron skillets are made in molds, the skillet and the handle are all one piece. In most cases, the handle is short. Since the handle isn't riveted to the body, you get an uninterrupted cooking surface that's easier to clean. Carbon steel skillets are two pieces, the base and the handle. Usually, the handle is attached with rivets, and in most cases, carbon steel handles are much longer than cast iron handles. Although the rivets tend to collect oil and are difficult to keep clean, the length of carbon steel handles allows them to stay cooler when you're cooking on the stove. Due to their thicker walls, cast iron skillets are much heavier than carbon steel. For example, this 12-inch Calphalon cast iron skillet weighs over 7 pounds, while this made-in carbon steel skillet weighs 4 pounds. With thinner and lighter construction, it's easier to pick up, store, and transfer carbon steel from the stovetop to the oven. Most people can move carbon steel with one hand, but you'll need two hands to pick up cast iron safely. Carbon steel and cast iron both retain heat well, but cast iron is the clear winner in this category. As I mentioned, cast iron skillets are made with thick walls to counteract its brittleness. These thick walls have another advantage. They absorb heat and hold onto it really well. Heat retention is important for a few reasons. First, when you put a cold piece of meat on a hot skillet, the cookware's temperature drops. With cast iron, that drop in temperature is minimized. As a result, you get a nice crispy sear on foods like steak and salmon. Secondly, cookware that retains heat well is more forgiving and easier to cook with. If you accidentally turn the heat too high, your food won't immediately start to burn. It takes some time for the pan to respond. Lastly, cookware with good heat retention keeps food warm, even after you turn the burner off. This comes in handy when you're entertaining or preparing a multi-course meal. The truth is, carbon steel has excellent heat retention too, but because the construction is thinner, it's not on the same level as cast iron. On the flip side of heat retention is responsiveness, which refers to how quickly a pan responds to changes in temperature. Carbon steel is thinner than cast iron. As a result, it heats up and cools down faster. Responsiveness is important when you're making stir-fry, fried rice, or one-pan meals. It's also important for cooking fish, eggs, and other delicate ingredients that quickly overcook if the temperature gets too high. Cast iron is one of the least responsive cookware types. Due to its thick construction, it takes a while to heat up, and when you turn the heat down or off, it takes a long time to cool down. If you're cooking a meal that requires frequent temperature changes, or you're in a hurry, avoid cast iron. Carbon steel has a smoother cooking surface, which makes it ideal for meals that you need to move around in the pan, like stir-fries and omelets. With proper seasoning, carbon steel can mimic a non-stick pan. On the other hand, most cast iron has a rougher texture, thanks to its higher carbon content. Although the surface isn't as smooth, you can still create a non-stick surface with several layers of seasoning. I've also noticed that seasoning tends to adhere better to cast iron because of the grittier texture. So should you buy cast iron or carbon steel cookware? Although carbon steel and cast iron are both highly versatile pans, they each have strengths. If you're looking for cookware that's lighter, easier to maneuver, and heats up faster, go with carbon steel. It's the better option for stovetop meals that require a lot of manipulation. If you want a thick, rivetless pan that retains heat better, go with cast iron. If you're still on the fence and only have the space or budget for one, go with cast iron. You simply can't beat the heat retention, and because of that, it's the ultimate pan for searing, roasting, and any other scenarios where maintaining a stable temperature is necessary. Plus, in my experience, the seasoning adheres to the surface a little bit better, so you don't have to reseason it as often. If you're ready to get started, I'll link to my favorite carbon steel and cast iron skillets in the description of this video. Those are affiliate links, so I will earn a commission if you click and buy, but at no extra cost to you. If you found this video helpful, check out this video where I break down the pros and cons of the most common cookware types. And don't forget to click the logo to subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video.